Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mekka. I come from Norway and I love makeup, and today I'm going to do a video on the new Jace Joy palette from Titanium Fox's Cosmetics, which I was really lucky to receive in PR. So I will do some swatches, and then I think I have 3 or 4 looks that I'm going to show you, with this one being the last look that I did. So if you want to get a closer look at this palette, this is the video for you. Now the Jace Joy palette is such a beautiful palette. It is a spring palette with a beautiful color story that has a lot of bright tones, a lot of depth, and I would say it's quite colorful honestly, but it does have a few mattes that are a little bit more on the neutral side. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of a closer look here at this beautiful palette. I'd say all of the shimmers are special shimmers. This one is not necessarily like a duochrome, but you can see that the gold shift here is just so intense, so it does have a lot of dimension, although it doesn't have like a straight up shift. And this one is a multi-chrome, which you will see in the swatches, and this shade is very close to the one I have in my Serpent palette. This one is maybe one of my favorites in the palette. It has almost like a green base, but it's very iridescent, so it doesn't have a strong base at all, but it's so intense and sparkly. Then you have this one, which is a very neutral shade, but it's a bit dark, and it's like straight up rose gold, but it does have a very orange shift as well. And then you have this one, which is a very dark one that shifts to purple, like a dark blue that shifts to purple. And all in all, it's just a very interesting color story with so many things you can do with it. So let me show you the swatches of this beautiful palette. For my first look on camera with this palette, I've already used it once when I used this Acorn and the lime one called Leaf. But today I want to use this one. It's a super shifty shade. You can't really tell right now, but it shifts to green and it's just very shifty. So I want to use that one together with the purple, and I think I want to use the green towards the inner corner of the lid, so like a two-toned look with this shimmer in the middle of the lid. And maybe I'll use a tiny bit of this one, but I definitely want to use this together with the chartreusey lime shade and this kind of purpley blue. So I'll probably do that in my next look, but today I want to use this one. So I'm going to start out with my WG2 brush from Stasi Alex and use this purple. As usual, I have primed with my Smashbox primer and a little bit of concealer to cover up some of my discoloration, and I'm probably going to use a skin toned color around the perimeter of the eye, but for now I'm just... Oh, I wasn't supposed to use this shade towards the inner corner. Whoops. That's going to be challenging because the green is not going to want to blend to this purple because they're completely opposite shades. But we will just see how it goes. Now, I'm just grabbing a little bit to be very careful when applying and blending this. And I'm just trying to apply it where I haven't applied the purple. I mean, it's not looking too bad. It's just that if I blend them a lot together, they're going to look muddy. But I mean, going for something a little bit more brown where they blend together isn't necessarily the worst idea. So I think this is actually looking good. I don't need that much of the lime shade. I'm just going to go back in with the purple a little bit. And now I'm just taking a skin colored matte. I usually go for something that's a little bit lighter than my skin tone, but I'm just mattifying whatever I have of primer and concealer with that one. And I also find that if you use one that is a little bit pigmented, it will help cover up and also make the blend more seamless. So that's just a go-to for me. And I really like the combination of these two colors together. I'm very interested in seeing how it looks with the shimmer. I might have to use the lightest shimmer if it's gonna be too dark with the purple one, but we'll just see. And I'm of course applying some Glam glue on my lid just to help the shimmers look even more intense and also just last the whole day without creasing. This one usually just makes the eyeshadow stick and it just gets so much more intense. So I'm taking the shade Crocus now on my finger, and it's so weird how you can't see that shift, I think, at least from the monitor, because I can see it so clearly. That is so pretty. It is, however, very dark, so I think I'll go for that first shade in the palette that is a little bit lighter for the very inner parts here. So I'm just dipping my little finger in that one. It's more of an iridescent with a slight base to it. Whoa, that is a very strong blue to purple. That is so electric. Wow, I can't wait to use this one together with the chartreusey green and that more blue purple shade. Now you can see I'm just overlapping the shades a bit to get that purple sparkle over the other shade, and basically that's the look. I think I'm just gonna go in with maybe the neutral shade called Soft Belly. It's the one next to the green one in the palette. I'll just use that for the lower lash line and show you the close-up once everything is done. Here is the final look. Wow, these shimmers are so pretty. The mattes blended so well. I'm using some lighting from the side now so you can really see the shift of that first shimmer that I put on the outer corner here, because it's very shifty. Shift through gold and green, and then that first shade in the palette that I used for the inner corner is just super intense. You can just see how sparkly and pretty it is. I'm so glad I used that one. I feel like it's a bit more sparkly actually than the other one, which, I mean, it's already quite sparkly, so that's just is very intense. But wow, I love this look. I feel like I have to show you like this because the eye here that is a bit more unfocused will really show you those sparkles. So yeah, that is my first look on camera with this palette. For today's look, I'm going to do something neutral. I'm basically going to use these shades. Maybe I'll add a little bit of something else, but we will just have to see. I could have used this one too if I wanted more of a red orange bronze shade, but I want to use this one. I'm pretty sure it's basically identical to one of the shades in my collab palette with Mekka Beauty Shop, but that is just positive because I do of course love it since I have it in my own palette. So that is something I'm interested in using today. So I'm taking the shade Ground on my 024 brush from Glam Shop. I just ordered some new brushes because they had a 30% code, so definitely recommend you to follow the owner Hanya because she posted that code and it was very limited, but it gave you 30% on everything, even the things that were on sale. So I decided to get a couple more brushes and some other necessities like mascaras and stuff. And I just love their brushes. So this is like a big blending brush, and honestly I think I want to have this shade basically all over the lid because that shimmer is a bit deep. So I think it's nice to have something deep as a base for that shimmer. And I'm going to use that other shade to blend this one out with. I'm now taking the shade Soft Belly with my 005 brush. This one is a little bit cooler than the previous brown, but honestly it looks kind of the same depth. So maybe I should not have used it, but I love the tone of it though. And this is going to turn out quite smoky. I wasn't planning to go this deep, but I'm sure I'm gonna love the look regardless. Now I'm going to take a skin colored shadow. I usually go a couple of shades lighter, as I think I said in a previous look too, but I'm gonna use this one from Creme de la Creme palette from Glam Shop. And this is because I used my Smashbox primer as a base. and I think I'm repeating myself in all of these looks with what I do, I think. But I'm just gonna place it here to mattify the primer and the concealer that I put before I do my eyeshadow. And since I did go very deep, I'm going to apply this a little bit further down because this is a very pigmented light shade, so it's just going to lighten up a little bit of that brown as well. And since I'm going quite dark, I'm gonna use this shade Acorn, which is just a little bit of a warmer shade on the lower lash line. It's going to look orange basically. It's just going to brighten up the look a little bit and make it a bit more fun, not just grungy. Like that. And I'm going to apply my Glam Shop Glam Glue before I do the shimmer. So I just applied my Glam Glue and I'm applying the shade Oak all over the lid. I just love that green too. I mean, it goes almost through like a tealish gray and then to the purpley burgundy shade. I just love that. I mean, I just wanted to see how the shade Sparkling Squirrel looked. It picked up a lot, but I mean, it would be nice to just have a tiny bit here on the outer corner. I just feel like it ties it a bit more together with the bottom lash line. I think that's really nice actually. I'm just going to apply a little bit more of the shade Oak to make sure I have it as pigmented as I can. I'll probably use just a shimmer from the Puppy Quiet palette for the inner corner because that palette has a lot of beautiful iridescent shades. So this is the look. I really like it. I'm gonna finish the rest of my makeup and show you everything when it's done. Here is the final look. I, again, love it. It is just like a neutral but grungy look. The shimmers are sparkly, they're shifty, just top notch. I did use the shade Puppy Cry from the Puppy Quiet palette for my inner corner. It's just become one of my favorite iridescent shades, and the green shift that it has just fits perfectly with this shimmer that I have all over the lid. Maybe you can see a bit more of the sparkles right here, but that is my second to last look. I am going to do another one, and I'm very pleased with this palette this far. Now for my next look, I want to do something a little bit inspired by this chaperone makeup made by makeup artist Andrew, wait, what does it say? Andrew Darling. And I want to use Acorn like in the corner here. Then I'm going to use the chartreuse instead of a yellow, and then I'm going to use the blue, but I'm definitely not going to make it as dramatic as this look. So again, it's going to be this one in the outer corner, this one almost all over the lid, and then this one towards more of the outer corner. So I'm going to start out with the shade J right here. I'm just going to start placing it here and then blend it upwards a bit. Oh, this is definitely a lot darker than the one in the chaperone look. But I'm probably going to use, oh, I forgot to show you the shimmer I want to use. I'm definitely going to use this one. It's called Wet Feet and it has almost like a greenish base to it. I'm not sure if you can see it, but this one is super sparkly and almost like an iridescent, but it does have a slight base to it. Anyway, I am blending out this one. I think I might very soon apply that skin toned color just so that this one blends out even lighter than it's already. So as usual, I am taking a huge brush and I'm using the shade from the Creme de la Creme palette from Glam Shop. And I'm just packing that shade on, not necessarily even blending, but it's just automatically blending that shade. Oh, it looks so pretty. So I'm not sure how far I want this kind of blue shade to go. I was thinking something like this and then like the chartreuse. And that was, by the way, my Stasi Alex WG2 brush. Now I am taking my Glam Shop 005 brush with the shade Acorn. I'm just going to put it in the outer corner here. And now I'm taking the chartreusey color called Leaf on my 026 brush. And I'll put this kind of like in between, but I'll also blend it a little bit upwards. And I think I want to drag it a bit further towards the inner corner, but I'll do the other eye first so that I don't mess up this brush with the blue first, because I want that to be very chartreuse right here. And I'm definitely going to add a little bit more of the blue just here, although it's probably going to be covered up by the shimmer, but I do want something all over the lid. And now I do have a little bit of a bare space in the middle, so I mean, maybe I'll use this chartreuse shade actually just here, but I want to add a little bit more of that blue. Now I'm ready to put on the shimmer, and I'm gonna just see how it looks without a base first. Ooh, that is adhering really nicely to the eye. Maybe I'll try it just like this. I'm really loving how that shimmer is looking on top of these mattes. You can totally see the base behind, like behind the shimmer here. I think it's so pretty. So as yesterday with my previous look, I'm probably also going to use Poppy Quiet for the iridescent inner corner. I think I'm gonna use, well, I'll just have to wait and see. But for the lower lash line, I think I'm just gonna do Acorn right here. So I'll just finish that off camera and show you the close-up. Here is the very final look with Jay's Joy palette by Titanium Foxes. I just love it. As you can see, I did put Poppy Cry from the Poppy Quiet palette in my inner corner, but other than that, it is all the new palette, and I love this color combo. It really reminds me of, I think it's called Bird in Paradise. It's a beautiful palette by Makeup Revolution, but it didn't perform well at all, at least in my opinion. But it really reminds me a bit of those colors, a little bit like a parrot or something, but in the best way. And yeah, I just really like that shimmer that I have on top of the all over the lid. I think it's so sparkly and very dimensional, and it just layers so beautifully on top of those matte shades. So I'm very happy with this look, and I think the mattes are just performing really beautifully. You can see that they blend so nicely and blend well together, and they're just great. But yeah, that is the final look. And those were all of my looks with the Jay's Joy palette. I think it's such a great palette. It's very interesting. It has some very unique shades. I don't think I have, or at least I can't recall right now if I have anything very close to the shade Spring Blood, and also not Wet Feet. I think those are very beautiful and just very fun to use. And the mattes are of course really beautiful. I love how they perform. So again, this is like Titanium Foxes just knock it out of the park all the time with their palettes. They are so good, and I'm not saying this just because I get them in PR, but they really are just so nice, and the owner just makes such amazing beautiful color stories that are so fun to use. And I love the packaging as well. It's like simplistic but with a lot of details, if that's even possible to say at the same time. I just love it so much. I'm very curious what you feel about this palette. Do you want it, or do you maybe already have it? In that case, what do you think of it? But I think I'm going to end this video right here. So thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye!